without going into debt and without going broke over it. You know, we should be in a space where when we have an emergency, if we want to make investments, if we want to buy a house, if we want to, you know, invest in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, whatever we want to do, those are the places we should concentrate our effort, you know, on creating wealth, not on necessarily. And you can't create wealth and spend money at the same time. It's not going to happen, not large amounts of money. So, you know, a lot of the things that we do to impress other people are unnecessary things. You know, your tube of lipstick does not have to come from whoever, you know, because that doesn't make it beautiful. That doesn't make you beautiful, right? You know, your skincare doesn't have to be created by whoever of that, you know, those lines that I'm not going to mention because they're not paying me to mention them. You know, we don't have to buy those things because they're all created by one company or two companies anyway.
Exactly.
It just has different packaging on them. And then they're private labeled, right? They're branded.
Branding.
So you're really buying the same tube of lipstick.
You really
You know,
are.
so if it's not all natural, you know, or close to all natural, you're purchasing the same tube of lipstick from all of those vendors in that store.
Exactly. And
right?
a lot of times it's nothing more than wax and water. It's just a bunch of chemical powders, some wax to hold it all together, and a bunch of water.
Well, I'll tell you, the chemical powder has literally burned my lips before. So that's why I'm very cautious about lip gloss and lipsticks and all of that. You know, so just, you know, if we take the time, I think the common thread here is to take the time and care about yourself, care about your home, care about your business enough to spend the time doing the research so it doesn't have to cost you a lot of money. You know, there are some businesses, yes, that you need a lot to invest in them,
Right.
you know, but usually you start with the basics, and especially some of these smaller businesses, you start with the basics, and it's just not necessary. You know, you start with the basics. You know, you line yourself up so that legally, you know, you're in a good position. And we have an attorney that comes on that talks about that. And even he says you shouldn't spend a lot of money to start a business unless it's a business that, you know, if you're going to be an attorney or something like that, the years of schooling, you know, that. But to start a business, especially a small business, depending on that business, it doesn't have to cost a lot of money to brand it, to get it up and running.
Well, I think people just have this whole entire idea that they have to have money. And yes, it's true you have to have money, but money is an asset. There's
Right.
other assets you have in your life.
That's
For
right.
example, your network. It's an asset that doesn't necessarily have a price point,
Right.
but could be equally or more valuable to the money that you have in your pocket. You know, and just taking the time. Time is one of your most valuable assets.
That's right.
And it can be free and it can be incredibly expensive depending on how you choose to spend it.
Right.
You know, and education, thanks to the internet, for the most part is free. Educate yourself on what you're buying. Like, do you know, for example, that when you go and buy something from either Old Navy, Gap, Banana Republic, they're all owned by the same conglomerate.
That's right.
That uses all the same factories to manufacture all the same product. Yes, they do use slightly different, you know, cottons and fabrics as they manufacture out the products, but literally all the products are made by the same hands in the same place. They just
Right.
have different tags sewn in. So just making sure that you're educated, and maybe it's not about making more money as it is about saving more money. Because it
That's
really
right.
doesn't matter if you make $1 million if you spend $1,000,001.
That's right.
Be an educated consumer. Don't go spending $30 for a lipstick that's 90% water. You know, how much does water cost?
Right.
You know, the markup on that is ridiculous. Be an educated consumer, and education is free.
Exactly. I agree wholeheartedly. Jeremy, okay, we're back to decorating again. I've got two rooms down.
It'd be nice
Two
if
to go.
decorating was always free.
Right. It's not always free, but it can be inexpensive. You're teaching us that. And, you know, like Jennifer said, we're all business owners sitting here. So, you know, no matter how much money and how successful your business is, you still have to be conscious of the fact that you are your own business. And so you should act appropriately, right? And so when you look at your kitchen, because that's, to me, an area where a lot of money can be spent trying to spruce up a kitchen. And is it necessarily so?
It's funny. Kitchens, it's kind of a new thing, kitchens. I mean, obviously not the idea of kitchens, but it used to be that curb appeal was everything.
Right.
Because there wasn't pictures of everyone's houses on the internet. And now when people shop for houses, the first thing they do is go online and look at the pictures that are
Right.
online. So
Yes.
it's all about the kitchen and the bathroom.
That's right.
Because everything else is just empty rooms online. It's
Right.
like, what's built into that kitchen and bathroom?
That's right.
It's not, the curb appeal is not the main thing anymore. Now it's the kitchen. It's the main thing.
Right.
So yeah, you can spend a lot of money on a kitchen. Now, if you're looking to redo your kitchen without spending a lot of money, look around and figure out what pieces of it are really the most offensive to you.
Right. Yeah.
And it may just be that the cabinets are beat up. So again, a coat of paint could
That's
make a
right.
big difference.
Now, I've done that.
Mhm.
I've repainted kitchen cabinets before.
Painting kitchen cabinets, it takes a long
Yes.
time.
That's a party.
Mhm.
That's
You
definitely a party
have to get,
that you have to
yeah.
invite other people to. It can't be just me and you.
Mhm.
It has
Yeah.
to be like
Yeah.
a lot of people.
You're gonna have to cook for the whole financial bunch.
Yeah, the whole
So
fine.
just have a weekend, you know, Charlene's slumber party, redo the house.
There you go.
There you go, with the finance bunch.
We'll film it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so kitchen cabinets
So-
can be very expensive if you're not careful.
Mhm.
So you can just repaint
So
them.
painting is easy. You can also just replace the hardware.
Yes.
You'd be surprised. They look like tiny little knobs, but if you take off those knobs and you buy some new ones, that can make a big difference.
Yes.
And you can get knobs at, your big box hardware store for $1 a piece.
That's right.
And you might have 30 or 40 knobs in your kitchen, so that's $30 or $40 to put something on there, and it's like new jewelry. It can really make a big difference.
Yes, it can.
You can also go online, and there's some great deals on hardware. If you can go out and find the high-end hardware, and then go online and find something that looks like it, that's a fraction of the price. There's also companies that will just make new cabinet doors. So you can measure all of the doors that are on your cabinets, order it online, and they'll ship them to you, finished or unfinished. And then you just replace the whole door. Instead of ripping out the whole kitchen and replacing the cabinets from the ground up, you just replace the doors because the boxes and everything inside may still be good.
Right.
So that's one way to replace your cabinets without spending as much money on them. The other thing is your countertops. So the countertops if you have an older kitchen, you probably have tile countertops and it may be chipped or the grout may be stained. If just the grout is stained, you can put in new grout without replacing the tile.
Wow.
It's not easy, but someone can come in and they kind of rough up the grout that's there and they just put a new layer of grout over it, and so you've got new grout.
Wow.
Now, if the tile can't be saved, but you don't have the money to put in a whole new countertop, there's a process where they come in, and it's a little like painting. If you've ever heard of reglazing bathtubs,
So they reglaze the countertop.
they can reglaze the countertop. And for a normal-sized kitchen, might be under $300, which is a lot less than replacing the whole countertop. Now, it'll last like maybe 4 or 5 years if you're lucky, but in that time, hopefully, you can spend up to actually replace the countertop. So it's a short-term, temporary
fix
that
that.
at least get you some a little more time on an old kitchen.
Wow. Jeremy, please give us your contact information again and your website because, people, this is good stuff.
Yeah, it's jeremyirvine.com, JeremyIrvine, and my email is jeremy@jeremyirvine.com.
Wonderful. And then Jennifer, all these tips about how to brand your business and save money on that. And it starts with a conversation. You're not going to be able to brand yourself totally for free, but you can at least get started. And the way we get started, at least the way I got started, was I called Jennifer. And I told her what my needs were. And she said, okay, we can do this one step at a time, And so I think that you'll create wonderful packages for people of things they can use. I'm referring you to many, 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 many people. I think Jennifer can do everything for everybody as far as their business is concerned. I'm a little prejudiced here. So to brand, to be a branding architect is something that is definitely necessary for a business. For your business to be successful, you always say that What do you
Curtains
say?
have got to match your carpet. You
And when you're
have to
branding
be
your business.
consistent.
Right. So consistency is a big deal.
Right.
You can't be all over the place.
You can't. You have to make sure. So basically, when I try to explain what branding is to people, it's the story of your product.
Right.
So it's the association that the person makes to it. And you literally have the ability to write that story. But it needs to make sure that all the parts match.
Right.
You can't have part of it be a comedy, then part of
Right.
it be an action, and then it's just a hot mess and it's all over the place. And then
Right.
people, they just have that, what I like to call the bad Brad experience. I think I've used this euphemism before, but you find a pair of shoes that you love, and they're cost $600, and then you go to the website, and the website looks like it hasn't been updated since 1994.
Right.
Right there, I have a bad association with your brand and your brand messaging and your brand story. So another thing that does not cost money is consistency. Consistency.
Yeah.
And I always like to say, you can dilute your brand down to its basic DNA, like 3 core principles. And if those, whatever that thing is, whether it's, a font for your website, whether it's a product for your line, if that thing is not in alignment with those founding principles,
It's
then
going to
it
throw
doesn't
everything
belong in your
off.
brand.
Right.
Right. So editing is nothing, another great way of, again, just building your brand, being careful about what you put out there.
Well, give us your contact information so that people can call you, set up appointments with you, so that they can get started, or if they're in the middle, fix what's broken. So
Right.
what is your website and all that?
Absolutely. Well, my website is currently being built. However, it will be byov.la, and you can email me at Jennifer, JENNIFER, at byob.la, or if you feel like actually calling me, 310-561-6561.
Love it. And Miss Katrina, okay, so for all of our skincare needs, every single one of them you can take care of, and I know that to be true.
All ethnicities,
All
skin
ethnicities,
types,
all skin types,
everything.
and all age groups.
Yes, that's another big one. Everyone from teen who's struggling with their skin and hormones and acne
Yes.
up to 50, 60, 70-year-old clients that I have.
So if you have skincare needs, please check out her website. Give her a call if you need a consultation for you or your teenager, boys and girls, because boys suffer with their skincare needs also, but they suffer more silently, because, they think, oh, I'm a guy, I shouldn't be asking these questions, when in reality, their skin is just as important as the girls. So if you have a son or a daughter and they're teenagers, pre-adolescent, preteens or whatever, and their hormones are starting to change, please give us your contact information.
Sure. My website is katixonskincare.com, KATIXON skincare.com, and my phone number is 888-992-6775.
Wonderful. I wanted to get all that in because sometimes we get caught up in the conversation and run out of time. This is such a great conversation. I'm having such a good time here today, and I wanted to thank you all for coming in. This is a great experience for me, and I know for the listeners too. Where else can you get, someone who is an interior designer, and who he does everything from apartments to mansions. So I am honored to have you here, and I thank you for taking the time to come out. And I wanted our listeners to know that whether you live in an apartment or a mansion, Jeremy is the person who can help you make that a fabulous space. And I really appreciate you coming out. And I want you back. And I know your phone number. I know where you live. So, and I know you can find a time for me at some point in the year. So you have to come back and see me.
Are you talking about the show or painting your living room?
Painting my living room. It's all about me. No, the show. But we will talk about my living room off air. And Jennifer, branding, being a branding specialist, I respect you as that. And I think that anyone who is serious about their business needs to give you a call. Definitely, because you can help them bring it all together. Because usually, we might have the concept or we do have the business idea, but to bring it all together, that's what we need to do, and that's what you help so fabulously with. You make sure the curtains match the carpet, that we are consistent, and we do it inexpensively. So I appreciate you being here also. And Katrina, my skin will always love you. Oh my goodness, this has been an hour. I can't believe it. Lunch with the Finance Bunch. You guys, thank you again, Jeremy, for coming on. Interior Designs, Jeremy Irvine. And Miss Jennifer Hoffman, thank you for coming on. And you are brand architect. And give me that slogan, those 4 letters again. Be what?
BYOB, build your own brand.
I love it. Katrina, always a pleasure. Promise me you'll be back on.
Of course.
I know where you live too. Okay. Lunch with the Finance Bunch. Thank you guys.